Perfect. So the first thing I always ask everyone, which we kind of already went over when I start interviewing, is first I want to let you know again, I'm Alex. I have like a YouTube and an Instagram page, and I want to thank you for joining me for this interview.
My pleasure.
So for all your fans, everyone's one wants to know how's everything going so far.
So far so good with the new record. I guess it's out next week. Finally, it's been a long journey for us. We finished the record a while ago, and we of course had to negotiate our new deal and with RPM and all that. But things are really good with us right now. We're promoting the record that's about to come out, and we're really excited to see what happens. We have a bigger label behind us for the first time, which is really exciting. And we have this international lineup. I guess we have a couple of Finnish guys in the band and two Australian guys, which is unique. And it's working really, really well, and we're working really well as a team. So we're really excited to see what happens with this record.
So how do you feel now that it's about to come out? Are you excited, kind of nervous?
Um, it's a bit surreal, I guess. It's been 6 years since our last record came out. This is the band's seventh record. This is the first with Jan and Nicholas as the rhythm section. And it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey. We obviously worked on the record through COVID. We worked hard. We produced it ourselves. We're all sound engineers. So in that respect, it's very rewarding to have something that you created completely yourself in a DIY approach. Um, Now we all have really good studios. Don't get me wrong. We're all professional sound engineers, but
Mhm.
it's I think it's I don't know how it's going to feel when it finally comes out, but it's been a long time coming, and I think the four of us are excited that what we have spent our time and our labor and our emotions on is coming out into the world.
For sure. What did you guys do for the 6 years? Besides obviously do this record.
Well, there was we toured um Europe for the last record in 2019. It was a club tour. It was our first return for quite a while to Europe. And we'd actually previously toured with Amorphous back in 2013. We did an Australian tour with our Australian lineup. And we befriended Nicholas and Jan. So when we flew into Helsinki to play our show, we hooked up with Nicholas and Jan and hung out in the studio and just as mates. But when we got back from that tour, um, we had a situation where we needed someone to drum on the record, and COVID was about to start, and we just said, "What the hell? Like, let's ask Jan. He's a great drummer and a great guy." And COVID was kicking in, lockdowns were about to sort of start happening, and we said, "Would you be available?" He said, "Yeah, man, I'm not on tour. Let's do it." So he came in as a session guy, but he joined the band very quickly. But obviously, when you get new members in, it takes a time. And we're producing the record ourselves, and we're producing it abroad,
Mhm.
away from each other. So it took a couple of years to get it done. And in that period, our bass player, who was also Australian, had his second child, and he needed to focus on his family. So then we got the bright idea to get Nicholas, seeing they were both in Helsinki. Let's go all the way with this, and so we got Nicholas in, and then we worked back and forward. And then when the lockdowns ended, and they were really particularly bad in Australia, we were locked down for like 300 days or something ridiculous. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, so then we flew to Helsinki, myself and Richie, and we mixed the record. And
Mhm.
by this point, we're at 2022, so we're already, a few years in. And then we finished the record, and all of 2023 was working on the record deal, with RPM primarily. So, and then you wait 6 months for the record to come out. So it's been finished for quite a while, and we didn't intend it to be 6 years, but with the addition of the new members, the lockdowns, the shopping for a new record deal, the whole thing just kind of it took some time.
Yeah, that's a lot to happen in I want to say short period because COVID kind of took up like 2 years of that,
Yeah,
but
yeah. But, I would say we've been busy since. So while we were working on our record deal, we were writing another record. So we already have 13 new songs, and in fact,
wow.
Jan's already tracked the drums, so it won't be 6 years until the next record. We're working on it as we speak. So there's a whole new batch of songs that we've written up from scratch together, and I think the turnaround before the next record will be a lot quicker, and I think we'll have some singles out in between as well. So we're really working full speed ahead now.
Well, that's awesome. I listened to the record the other day and I really enjoyed it. So I'm sure everyone's gonna love it when they hear it.
Thank you so much, Alex.
So, how has the sound kind of changed on this album versus the one you did 6 years ago? I know there's been some like band member changes and things like that.
Yes. Well, the album 6 years ago was the first to feature our guitarist, Richie, and so that started the chain, I guess, the additional dimension to our sound. Before the last record, I primarily wrote everything, so it was very much my vision and lyrics and music, and, I didn't write everything, but 90% of things that I wrote were pretty much what happened. So when Richie came, I got a collaborator as a songwriter. So that was well received on the last record. But with this record, I think Jan and Nicholas have not just come in as like, we're gonna play what you tell us to play. It was like immediately it was like they have opinions, they have experience. They
Mhm,
played together for 17 years in Amorphous, and they were not afraid to express their opinions about songs, about arrangements, and I think that this is probably why people are noticing that we've stepped up a level or changed, evolved. I don't think fundamentally the sound, like, if you listen to the first record from 21 years ago, you'll still hear my voice on it. You'll still hear those ideas, but they've
mhm,
really evolved, developed, and I think it has more dimension to it. Because you've got to remember also that 2 of the members are from Australia, and then 2 of the members are from the top of the world in Finland, and we're
mhm.
culturally different as well, you know? So it brings a cultural, dimension to the music, um, which I think is unique. So when you have 2 different cultures together working on music, um, it culminates in a very unique way. So I think the new record, besides having really high quality musicianship, um, just has more dimension and more twists and turns, and is possibly, more refined than previous records. Everyone says their new record is the best, but, you know, I think we're onto something. It's only taken 21 years.
Hey, as long as you get there, that's all that matters.
Exactly, exactly.
So, how is it working out having members in two different like countries and two different cultures?
Remarkably well. We're now business partners as well because we run this with this band on a label and everything like that. So we have financial considerations and things like that. And everyone's just, I think one thing that Australians and Finns share is we're pretty easygoing, and we're we're not egomaniacs for the most part. So we work well together. We listen to each other even when we're being stubborn about our ideas, and it always comes out for the best. So it works well. I mean, we're in communication all the time. Like, we have band meetings online. We work on material together. I was in Finland a couple of months back earlier in the year working on new material. So
Mhm.
um, and Jan will be over here probably helping me do vocals for the new record soon. So um, and plus we have recording studios, you know. It's not we're really good at recording technology. So having that on our side, and having a love for similar record producers and styles of production and bringing in our ideas, it works like really like we were in the same place, you know. So obviously, when we go on tour, we have to meet somewhere to rehearse and practice the material and put the show together.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's the next step.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds awesome. It sounds like you have a great plan in place.
Hopefully, yeah. It sounds I think it's gonna I think you'll see us somewhere playing sooner than later. We're working on that now.
Awesome. So I know you guys have been around for a while. There's been also like a band name change as well in there too. What kind of keeps you guys going after so long?
Well, I guess if we were to include the old band, it's about 30 years, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
it's been Eternal for 21 years, and I was in a doom band called Cryptal Darkness, and I formed the Eternal with another guy from that band, and it kind of continued thematically for the first record or so in a similar way, um, but what keeps me going and what keeps us going, I guess for me, having to keep the band going the longest, through lineup changes and low points, is that at some point you realize it's not about being successful. Because if it was about being successful, I would have stopped, years ago. It's about expression. So it's about expressing your feelings and your therapy, and making the Eternals music is part of me. I can't take it out of me. I find it very difficult to be in other bands. The Eternal is my soul, and that's just what's kept me going, even through really long, hard periods where I didn't know if I could keep it going.
Mhm.
Where I was like, "Why am I doing this? Does anyone even give a shit?" We had so many ups and downs. We would have really high points, great tours, touring with big bands and, touring the world and doing cool stuff, and then it'd be followed by really low points where we made bad decisions and lost key members and things like that. So, if you wanna be in this for the long game, you can't be in metal just for success. You have to be in it because it's what you love to do. I know that might sound cliched, but, um, once I got that clear in my mind, because when I was young, I wanted to be top pinnacle of success, and I was very driven for that. But then I
Mhm.
realized, just make your music, man. Like, that's what it's about.
Yeah, I think also a lot of the new generation too is finally appreciating metal. So that's pretty awesome to see too.
Yeah. I mean, metal it doesn't go away, and it won't go away. And there's so many different styles of it, and people still love guitars. Yes, it doesn't have mainstream attention, but, um, it's a community that I think will always be there in my lifetime, and it's evolved since I was young and playing metal.
Mhm.
What people do now is the musicianship level of young people now is phenomenal. Like, um, but it's great to see that people are still finding metal bands and enjoying it, and when also don't compete. There's no point trying to compete with the musicianship of these 20-year-olds now. You know, so you've just gotta they're amazing. So you've gotta put your piece of the pie in and go, "Hey, this is what I do. Hopefully some of you dig it."
Yeah, for sure. So I have to ask you, if someone who hasn't heard the record yet asked you would you describe this album, how would you describe it to them?
Well, it's interesting because I've had all kinds of different feedback, and some people find it hard to put it in one box. I think primarily it's dark emotional metal, like, it's very introspective lyrically. I write all the lyrics, um, but I think we dabble in some gothic elements, I guess, more from a gothic metal perspective, and we dabble in progressive music and cinematic music. Um, so maybe if you had to summarize it really quickly, it would be, dark melodic metal with progressive and gothic elements. Although the word gothic's a bit weird for me because I'm not a goth. I know I'm dressed in black and I have black hair, but I'm not really a goth. But I was influenced by early gothic metal and gothic doom metal, so I think that's where that comes from. Yeah, I don't know if that's your thought on what it sounds like, but I guess it's sort of dark metal with progressive gothic elements.
I could definitely see all of those honestly, because I heard like a little bit of other bands. I'm like, this is awesome. It's like a combination of everything. It's different than, just your typical gothic rock or, it's like everything combined into one. So I'm like, it's very unique.
Thank you, and I think that's a culmination of experimenting. Like, if you go back to our early records, you're gonna hear all those elements, but I hadn't refined how they all fit together properly yet. So some records are more rock, some records are more metal, some are more doomy, and it's like, I think we just got all those elements and were able to cohesively put them together. Um, and obviously, having the European guys in the band enhances that European flavor to it as well.
For sure. Definitely can
Plus,
hear
we're
that.
convicts. We're convicts, so, we came over we're technically European somewhere or British or whatever it is.
So is there a favorite song that you have on the album?
Now that I mean, there's favorite ones for different reasons. I mean, sometimes the really simple songs are the hardest ones to write, like, or the more commercial songs like Death Like Silence, I guess, is a melodic kind of goth rock piece, and that's quite challenging, to bring something simple together, but make it textual and complex in other ways. So I like that song for that reason, but then there's other songs on the record like The Iconoclast and Under the Black I really like because it's kind of got these sort of Floydy elements into like really heavy proggy type, midsection and then the kind of world music elements going on. So I like the cinematic stuff as well. So, you know, it's hard to say, but I really we've got Under the Black lyric video coming out next week. I think we all really like that song. That's a song we all I think we'll play live for sure.
Yeah, that song is pretty awesome.
Cool, thank you.
Is there any song that you feel, like, connected to just, like, emotionally through lyrics or
Well, I mean, all of the songs, I guess, I wasn't trying to write a concept record lyrically, but it seems to have a thematic theme. It's kind of cathartic. Every record I make is like a purging of my feelings. Lyrically, I write very introspectively. I'm not writing about Dungeons and Dragons and nothing. There's anything wrong with that. I love Dio as much as the next person, but thematically, it's all very introspective and sort of singing about things that I've been through in life. And I can't say that everything's been easy in the last 6 years. So in my personal life, so lyrically, I connect to many of the songs, and some of them will be harder to sing live than others. You have to separate yourself from the feeling of when you wrote it. Um, but I think you'll see themes that are in Death Like Silence and our current single, When the Fire Dies. Thematically, they're kind of a very similar theme. Um, and I think lyrically those songs are quite strong. I think When the Fire Dies is a bit it's very direct. Sometimes I feel a bit exposed, like people are reading my feelings. No, and but I think that's also what people relate to, hopefully, about the band is that lyrically, I'm putting my, soul and my feelings out to the world, and if you're feeling not great about things, hopefully it can give you some kind of soothe you a little bit.
Yeah, I think music does that a lot for a lot of people, so I think just being able to be vulnerable and share that with your fans, people can relate, and I feel like that's one thing I love about metal music too, is there's some feeling and soul into it.
Yes, exactly. It's about it's just, it is a very therapeutic style of music, and, I think the Eternals music takes some patience. You're not gonna necessarily get it immediately. It's not gonna give you that instant fix of, like, a blast beat in the first minute or not that there is any blast beats, but it's a journey. You've gotta listen to it probably start to the end, and you've gotta immerse yourself in it and give it some time. Um, we're not we're not in it for the quick hit fix or the quick impact. We're there to kind of hopefully unfold some feelings in you as you go on the journey with us.
Is that what you hope fans that take away from this album?
I hope that we connect with people, and I hope that people take the time to, you know, listen to the depth, not only lyrically, but musically. I think there's a lot of texture and emotion in what we've done, and yeah, I just, I wanna connect to that person who's going, "Hey, Mark and the Eternal feel what I feel," you know? I'm having, so, I mean, that's beautiful, that's honesty and that's connection. So, yeah, I would love that.
Well, that's awesome. I think that's great, especially, like you said, we all are connected in the metal world. It's a different type of kind of scene.
Yeah, it is. It's full of wonderful people. I've been lucky enough to travel the world with this band over the years and meet so many wonderful people, including my rhythm section, from all my trips to Europe, and of course we've been to America as well, and and through South America a little bit. But there's fond memories, and there's great people that I've met in America as well. So yeah, it brings us. Doesn't matter where you come from. Music transcends cultural barriers.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yes.
So I have to ask, how have you grown as a musician from when you started to now? It's been a few years.
Oh god, it's been a few years. Yeah. I would say, my my focus very early on became not to become a virtuoso, but to become a good songwriter. Um, in heavier genres of music, and a good music producer. I produce records for other people, as well. I did I mixed an album for an American band called Stygian Crown, which play doom metal. So
Mhm.
as far as I'm very much about the journey of of like, I use my playing, not to show off, I guess, but to kind of create songs, to create movements, to create feelings. And I think another thing that a really good musician or a good producer does is they bring in other people that can do the things that they can't do. Like, I have a guitarist in Richie who is a shred lord, he's a shredding machine. I have a drummer that can drum the hell out of anything. And, when you as you grow as a musician and you let go of your ego and you think about what everything that serves the song, um, then I think that's what, I've grown as. I've grown as someone that can produce music, from a sonic perspective, but also someone that is refining their ability to write songs and collaborate with other musicians. That's hard because when you're a young guitar player, you know, it's all about you and your ego and your, you know, you. But as you get older, I think you get a bigger perspective of how to, what's good, what's not, what to leave in, what to take away. So I would say my ability to compose music over the years has grown.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely think it comes with, like you said, just growing.
Yeah, I don't think people should discount bands that are older or, like we're all older guys, and and it's not the band's first record, but um, I think definitely, bands grow and they don't necessarily always make their best music in the first periods of their career. I think there's many bands that have sort of hit their peaks later, and I see the Eternal hopefully being part of that now that I have really firm collaborators. So yeah, older guys make cool music too.
That's true. So, can you tell me a little bit about the music video for Death Like Sentence?
Yes, Death Like Silence music video. Um, well, we work with a guy here. I don't know if you've seen the new one, for, When the Fire Dies, which has been out for a couple of weeks. If you haven't, check it out. Made by the same guy. His name's Clint. He's from Red Tape Pictures in Melbourne, and, we just let Clint do Clint. Um, we don't give I've found to not give him guidance and let him interpret the song and be a filmmaker is cool. So, um, we our only involvement in the music videos is either shooting the band footage or the green screen stuff, and then I just sort of we hand it over to Clint. He's done videos for us for many years, but the
Mhm,
more we've worked but I think these last 2 are his supreme efforts for us. I think they look really, really cool, really immersive, um, but all I can tell you is that Clint from Red Tape Pictures is an extremely talented, hardworking individual, and I think when the new one came back, even with Deathlight, we had no changes. We were just like, "I don't know what you did, man, and how you came up with that, but it's cool." So, check it out. I think it's, and he doesn't use AI or any fancy stuff. Everything is actors, makeup artists, like, it's the whole he's a filmmaker. So,
mhm.
um, extremely talented. Blessed that we were able to work with him again, and we plan to work with him in the future.
Well, that's awesome. I also just realized I cannot read what I wrote down. That's supposed to be death like silence.
Yes, that's okay. That's okay.
So I do have one last question for you
Yes.
here. So is there any message that you'd like to give your old fans, new fans, anyone interested in taking a listen to the band?
Yes, look, I appreciate, I don't take it lightly that anyone puts their time and listens to our music, and I really appreciate it. And I hope that anyone that discovers us, even if it's just for this record, new fans, that you take a moment and look back at what we've done, the journey we've been on to get here. And for people that have been with us for the longest period of time, I don't forget you. I know most of you by name, and, I hope that you are enjoying the journey that we're taking you on, and, if you've just discovered us, album's out on the 28th of June, and it'll be on all streaming services, and you can pre-order a double vinyl currently at RPM. So this is our first album on vinyl as well, so that's very exciting. So, um, I just hope I hope it affects people, and I hope you enjoy it.
Well, that's awesome. Like I said, for anyone who is interested, you definitely will not be disappointed. It does come out on the 28th, and the album is Skinwalker from RPM Records. So, really awesome.
Thank you very much, Alex. I really appreciate your time.